business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. Oh, I'm lit up right now. We've talked for about 10 minutes. She's on fire. You'll be motivated by her. You'll be challenged by her. And I think more importantly, you're going to walk away with the tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others. But before we dive in, here's your homework today. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes. Let's discover how servant leadership in business can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. And a quick shout out to Epic Impact, the only universal, emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. This four-step system transformed how I pitch, social media post, and how I develop my podcast. I tell a story by engaging, persuading, inspiring, and closing with clarity. I use it daily, and man, does it work. Grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code STEVE to start inspiring action today. And a quick shout out to my guests, to my audience. We hit top 20 in small business marketing, actually number 6. It's because of you sharing this out and impacting others, we're getting a great ranking. So let's keep continuing impacting others, keep sharing these great shows. So with that being said, let's welcome our guest. Laurel, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Steve, good morning to you. Greetings from Dubai. I'm super excited to be with you, with your audience, with your listeners and viewers, and super excited to have this interaction with you. Seeing each other for the first time. Actually, we've seen each other like 10 minutes ago. So everything is very raw, very, in fire, and I'm looking forward to have the conversation.
It's beautiful. Let's start to the future. Legacy. You talked to me about legacy, what you want to do with 1 million people. Let's talk about that. It's powerful.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah.
So the story goes like, when I was like in my early 30s, and I was already working in corporate America for a couple of years in leadership positions. At one moment, I was moving from my home country, Romania, to Moscow, Russia, and that was my first international assignment. I lived in 7 countries on 5 continents, and I really embraced, I love diversity, I love cultures, I love understanding and meeting people coming with a different background, different behaviors than me. So when I made that step for the first time, I had a question, and the question was, why I am here? Why I am here? What is that I'm gonna be doing on this earth? It's like, when you are up to your first big move in life, moving out from your comfort zone, it's not that you question your decision, you question the reason behind the decision.
Yeah.
So I went to a 3 days, I would say, boot camp, where together with some coaches, we dedicated 3 days to discover our purpose and our values. And it was a very interesting journey because getting out of that, it took me another couple of many days, and actually my whole life, to really not understand but live based on my purpose. And my purpose was about the legacy I'm leaving in people's life, meaning answering the question, how do you want to be remembered? I would like to be remembered like someone who was able, maybe in a couple of minutes, short or long conversations, to give the other person something which they can use, they can take with them, and it has an impact in their life. And being in leadership roles, it's not just that I was not realizing the impact which you have as a leader in other people's life, the way how you inspire, the way how people they are looking up at you, the way how people rally around your vision and around your mission, right? But to me, after that journey, I realized that, and I become conscious about the fact that every day, with every colleague, with every stakeholder, with everyone from the industry, whatever I was like talking or making presentations and or giving feedback, that is impact and that is storytelling. And to me, I carried with me that purpose, and the next decisions I was making in life, and as I said, I moved around quite a lot. For the big life-changing decisions, like decide to move from Moscow to Vienna, from Vienna to London, Dubai, United States, all these kind of decisions, which are super impactful, not only for me, but I was coming with an impact in some other people's life, the teams I was leading, the organizations I was leading. I was always connecting my decision with my purpose. And the question which I was asking myself is that making this decision, how this connects with my purpose, the legacy which I want to leave behind. And if the answer was yes, I was just taking full ownership of that decision.
Yeah. And you're saying something here, making a decision connected to your purpose. I'm saying it again, audience, that's $1 million nugget right there. Because every successful person I've interviewed over 800 shows all had purpose, not one of them. So talk about purpose, because you've met a lot of people, you've worked with a lot of people. Really, how important is knowing your purpose?
I think the purpose is the engine, is the motivation for each and every individual. And defining your purpose, there are different methods out there, asking yourself the 5 whys, the seven whys. There are, methods which you can really Google finding your purpose, and you're gonna get a lot of things, so you don't really need, to come to a coach. It's finding your purpose. I think it's about your self leadership, the way how you lead yourself through life. And I think it's a responsibility for everyone who has objectives and aspirations to really understand the foundation, how those aspirations connect with the purpose, how those objectives connect with the purpose, or we are just like simply sleepwalking through life.
Yeah.
So to me, purpose is the foundation of everything we do, because it becomes the motivation every day. When you are doing something connected with your purpose, you don't need someone to pat your shoulder. You just smile.
Yeah.
And it's it's about the self-motivation. It's also about connecting the self-leadership and self-motivation to what I'm calling, the self-regulation, in a sense that those kind of questions, is it connected? Do I want to spend my time to do this? You sort of try to make your time much more efficient, your efforts much more efficient, because you put your heart, your mind, and your efforts and your time where actually your purpose is. And that is very important. So purpose is, it has to be, in my view, backed up by some values. And I'm going to talk a bit about values, because values, it's about what you appreciate, what you value about interactions with others, what are those how you carry yourself through life. It's about the values, the things which you appreciate. I just can give you the example of my values, for your audience. So my first value is creativity, and is non-negotiable, and it's also my superpower. So, and I think that, and I think that everything what I'm doing and the way how I'm talking, even our conversation right now, or me storytelling, I bring my creativity into play. I try to explain in a way that people, they can get value and they can get inspired by what I'm saying. And it's non-negotiable because it's something which, it's not that I would not change, but I can't change.
Yeah. No, it's powerful. Really powerful.
So to me, after that, of course, I have, courage. It's about friendship. It's about confidence. And lastly, it's about self-love. I'm not, you don't hear family, you don't hear family, and you hear self-love, because my principle that if I'm not able to love myself, how am I able to love others? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not, you have to work in building that. And somehow it's also part of the non-negotiable ones.
Yeah.
So purpose and values, they go hand in hand, because they do help create the identity of someone, right? When you know your purpose and you know your values, you know what you are committed to do, and that becomes somehow your identity. So so this is the lenses through which I'm also talking, and as you can see, I'm very passionate about it.
Yes, you are. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
And I also think that each and every experience, each and every learned lesson, the stories we tell in life, they are connected with a purpose. You really need to be very intentional when you have a conversation. This kind of very superficial chit chats, little value conversations, yes, they might be like, okay, but for me, I want to have more intentional value. Or at least if I don't have that, I listen, because listening is also a very important skill. And you can also tell a story just listening to other stories,
Amen. Yeah, you put them all together. Well, what's interesting too about stories, some people tell stories they're impactful to a point, but stories, and we'll get into your book, stories with purpose, which I love. You throw the purpose behind the story, the impact is bigger. And self-love is as important as why I talk about beginning the show. Serve yourself first. I do. I serve myself every morning. I go for a walk. I take care of Steve. You take care of Laurel. We take care of ourselves. That's self-love. Then you go serve others. Let's
Yes.
segue into the book, Stories with Purpose. Such a great title. What was the motivation to write that?
Oh, when I was 16, believe it or not, I was a very introverted kid. Present but invisible. This is how I define that. I define that period, present and invisible. And being Romanian, I was born and raised under communism. A very different childhood than the people from the Western side of the world. I think that childhood helped me become extremely resilient, meaning finding solutions and getting on the other side much stronger. And at that time, I didn't know about journaling. And my way of getting out my emotions, what was happening at school, what was happening in the family, the emotions I was living as a teenager, I started to write it down in a notebook. And people now call it journaling. For me, it was just like, a way to get out what I was feeling. And I was thinking to find us. No, I was afraid that someone is going to read what I'm writing. So therefore, I encrypted. I found a solution, and I encrypted everything in metaphor. And I
Wow.
started to write poetry. My mom found my journal one day, and I think that was the first moment when we truly connected emotionally, because she really understood what is behind the perfect student I was at school, the quiet girl, the girl who was like, sometimes, just listening, not saying nothing, but a very good observer. And she connected me with my first coach for writing. And through that, I discovered the power of storytelling. And later on, when I was writing my first book, and I was doing my research, I realized that actually the first story known by mankind, it's a poem. It's the poem of King Gilgamesh, 5,000 years ago, written on 12 clay plates, and it's a story about a superhero. And because this King Gilgamesh, he was slaying dragons, he was doing miracles, he was a superhero, in fact. So during my corporate life, on and off, I was writing, but more towards my career. But 5 years ago, I restarted to write poetry, and I think that I got that kind of inspiration and that kind of groove back. And I was in a women's circle, and someone was asking me what is my passion, and I said my passion is writing, reading, and I love writing poems. And she just happened to be someone working previously for BBC, and she said, "Well, I wanna read some of your poems." And I sent 5, and 2 weeks later, no response. But after 3 weeks, there is this kind of long email, saying that, "You know what? Long story short, you have to publish." And I was like, "All right, so okay, so this is a cool project." I said, "How can I start?" And the first manuscript was totally a poems manuscript. But after that, through all this research and understanding that poetry, like any other form of art, you can look at music, songs, dancing, painting. Actually, it's storytelling. And I realized that behind every form of art, there is a story. When Monet painted, all his beautiful paintings, it was some emotion over there. It was a story. It was not just like a beautiful landscape. So therefore, I evolved the initial manuscript into bringing the stories inspiring my poems. And doing so, I realized the beauty and the connection. And I said, when my readers will read the poem and they will have that kind of emotional click, and they will understand also the story, it could be very good if I'm gonna just enable them to get into the white space of reflection with some mind-bending questions. So I added 2 questions, which are just teasing you enough to become more curious about yourself and about your own story, in a way that by the end of the book, you're going to be able to write that kind of beautiful, your own origin story, the story which brought you where you are right now. So this is the first book all about it.
Beautiful. Yeah. Where can we get the book?
The book is on Amazon. It looks like it's very marvelized, by the way.
Yeah.
It's very Superpower like. Also because I believe that, and if the book has also a bit of storytelling. So I put a bit of research behind, because I really wanted people to understand the importance of storytelling, the importance of the two stories which are, I think, key for each and every individual: your origin story, but also the stories you tell to yourself, the self-talk which everyone has every day. And what I also I connected with the fact that each and every individual is the superhero of his own life.
Yeah.
As simple as that. That's why I think that every story, and I have this kind of idea in my head and all the time I'm saying that every story we tell can shape someone else's success. That they take a bit of learning, a bit of wisdom. Sometimes we don't need to go by ourselves the hard way because there were some other people going the hard way and we can take the learnings out of that. And it's just that to pay attention and to be like a sponge to get those kind of stories with which someone can resonate and they can take something out of it.
It's beautiful. We're coming to the end here. What a beautiful story. You're definitely a storyteller. So I want you to tell me another story. I'm going to give you a scenario, a question. So I've reserved a table in a restaurant for you, table of 4. You're sitting one of the chairs. You've got 3 empty chairs. Who does Laura invite? A mentor, somebody in the past who's died, somebody you've looked up to talk to for an hour or two. But more importantly, what food would you order for the table?
Very good. I love this scenario. So definitely, I would like to have my mom at the table.
Beautiful.
I would like to have my best friend and my business partner at the table. And I think that I would like to have you, Steve, because I'd like to get to know you more. And I think that you have beautiful stories and I would like to listen and to learn and to be amazed and inspired by the stories you have to tell. I think that I will order a mix of different cuisines because you know what? Sometimes just tasting bits and pieces from, like, let's say the Italian food, which everyone likes, right? But I also like the Asian cuisine. I like the Japanese, and I also like the Indian one. So to me, I think it's going to be like a feast of international cuisines. And I think that the connection which is going to happen at the table is going to be through storytelling.
It's going to be a storytelling epic 2 hours
Epic,
or 3 hours.
epic.
It's epic, absolutely epic. Well, Laura, thank you for being such an incredible guest. Audience, you see, storytelling is the key. It's grown my business. I've done massive things storytelling. It's grown my podcast. I'm behind her 100%. Take this podcast and share it. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I know people listening are going, how can they reach out to Laura? Talk about where we can get the book. And you got a free book or a free gift for our audience as well.
Yeah, so the first book, Stories with Purpose, Your Story Has Purpose Too, in 2 weeks is going to be available to be downloaded as PDF. I will share the link with you. And I really want your audience to really benefit and to be happy and to use it wisely, writing their own story. Everyone could find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite channel. Also, I'll be very active in the upcoming 3 months because I'm launching my second book talking about the individual unique value proposition. And I hope that with that book, I'll come again having this kind of amazing download of 20-25 minutes and your questions for your audience to really follow through storytelling to the next chapter, which is about them as being a unique story and unique individual value proposition.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to do that. And audience, I'm going to put this out there. I don't usually do this. I'm going to download this copy. The first 5 people that download, email me and let me know. I have a surprise for you, because what Laura's talking about here, for the last 22 minutes, it's going to change your life personally and professionally. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Storytelling is the key. And to be better at it, and anybody can do it. This is a skill anybody can do. So again, Laura, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest. And audience, here's your homework at the end. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for this show, because she just gave us a gift. She gave us, like I said earlier, 22 minutes of storytelling, how powerful it is. And you're listening to somebody and they go, God, I'm really struggling with life. Share this podcast and they can start telling their story and be uplifted, like this Romanian lady who had probably not a lot, but look where Laura is today from way back in those. There's people this day that could use this book, could use this podcast. So go out and share it. And it doesn't have to be my podcast. Any other podcast, it resonates with you and you hear somebody, send it to them and make an impact, because that's what we should be doing, especially nowadays, the way the world's going. With that being said, me and Laura want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.